I'm Mahdi Shaheeb Sher. My website is www.mahdishaheebsher.com. I think one of my interests in the world as Mahdi Shaheeb Sher is kind of the traditional big powers that were Russia, United States of America, France, and the United Kingdom. I think with these traditional big powers in the world, we are kind of seeing an erosion of their power and kind of a disappearance of their importance in the world as traditional heavy powers in the world. I think with Russia, America, France, and the United Kingdom, we are kind of seeing some kind of a conflict in the world with their military engagement, primarily because of the Western banking crisis and the shift of wealth from the West to the East. And I think with Russia, we're seeing the invasion of Ukraine. I think with America, we're seeing kind of the military incursion into the Taiwan Straits. I think with France, we're seeing a lot of the kind of development of the European defences. And I think with the United Kingdom, they have their own colonial interests in Africa and South America. So I think with these big powers, there is a concern and maybe an agitation that they are losing their power in the world, maybe their grip in the world. So there is some kind of inclination towards some military confrontation or military conflict to stabilize the situation. I think with Russia we can see it in the Ukraine war, and I think with America it's involving itself with the Taiwan Straits and maybe a confrontation with China with the Taiwan Straits. So we do have those issues, and of course we have the Middle East as well. I think that Iran could be supported by the United Kingdom in perhaps developing more of a control in the Middle East. I think it's some kind of a Anglo-Iranian alliance in the Middle East, which is kind of taking advantage of their relationship with America, I think, to reconfigure the Middle East so that it's more in control of the West again. And I think that with Iran's involvement in the Middle East, it is an Anglo-Iranian influence in the Middle East. And I think that is quite significant as well, because traditionally Iran has not been very involved in the Middle East. It's always been concerned about its own political stability at home within Iran. But I think if you look at Iran's military involvement in the Middle East, if you look at its involvement with Syria and Iraq, I think Iran is behind a lot of the roadside bombings in Iraq. And I think with Syria, it supported a lot of the rebels in Syria's civil war. So I think we have those interests. And I think with Saudi Arabia as well, I think that it's supporting a lot of the Yemen rebels to kind of overthrow the Saudi regime. And I think that's one way it's hoping to influence the Saudi regime by Yemen. I think he's trying to do that through Yemen with all of the rebels there. And I think this conflict in Yemen has been going on for over 10 to 15 years. So I think it is quite successful in destabilizing Saudi Arabia. And I think that most of these things are backed by the Western powers, such as Russia, America, France and UK. I think most of these things are backed by these four Western powers. And I think the most aggressive ones, because they've lost their balance of power. But I think there's lots of other conflicts in the world. I think in Sudan, there's militia governments there as well. And I think that could be supported by France. I think that we have Nigeria as well, that has some kind of militia conflict there as well. And I think that's supported by France as well. And I think that with Burma, it has the military leadership there, and I think that's supported by America. And I think that with Russia, it's backed Bashar al-Assad in Syria for some time as well. So I think Russia's had an interest in that. But I think these powers, Russia, America, France and the United Kingdom, are very engaged in the world at the moment. And I think they are engaged as belligerents. I think that they're kind of very much trying to retain their power as large number one powers, and that I don't think they feel they can do that anymore. So I think that they are kind of trying to reassert their authority as large powers. But I think unfortunately they're doing this as maybe middle level powers now. Thank you very much.